this is Bridget with Life on Spectrum, and we're continuing our conversation about your student's IEP. We are going to talk about Section 5, the goal and objective section today. Now, what you need to remember is that you need to go back to Section 2 and listen again about the present educational levels. The last part of the present educational levels is called the needs section. The needs section is exactly what your son or daughter should have goals and objectives about. On a rare occasion, they may have a modification, but most likely all their needs should have a goal and an objective. Now, a lot of times my parents have don't understand the difference between a goal and an objective. Now, your son or daughter could have one goal and objective, or they could actually have up to 10 or 12, depending on their needs section. So please keep that in mind. But the difference between a goal and objective is a goal is an overview. It's an overall goal for them to achieve, and objectives actually break that goal down. And I'd like to give you an example with just using math computation. An example of a goal would be Jacob will receive 10 problems on a weekly basis and will receive an 85% average. That would be an understanding of a goal. It's basically saying every week he'll at least get 10 problems that he'll be scored on, and an average over the marking period or the progress monitoring period, he'll have an 85% average. Now that is, like I said, the basic goal. In reality, though, we should actually break that down into objectives. For instance, you should have one for, like, let's say, addition, and then one for subtraction, multiplication, and then division. So then you would have the overall goal and then 4 objectives underneath. And each of those could be the same thing, but just individualized. For instance, an objective would be Jacob will be given 10 addition problems on a weekly basis and have an 85% average. The reason these objectives are important is because it actually fine-tunes the problems that your son or daughter is having. Now, just remember, that was just an example using mathematics. This can be used for behaviors. It can actually be used for autistic support or social pragmatics and reading facial expressions. And especially with facial expressions, you can have an overall goal of understanding it 80% of the time, but then the objectives will break it down whether they understand sad or happy or excited. So just to get an idea of the difference between goals and objectives. And remember, it could be a wide variety or a number for your student. Generally in elementary school, there is a higher number of goals and objectives on an IEP. And as they get older, we do try to have them wean off, because that means that they're achieving these goals for their life and for their transition after high school. Also in high school, some of the goals will just have goals and not objectives, especially when we're talking about state assessments. When we're talking about not just computation, but when you apply math skills, then those objectives are kind of hard to write, so it will be an overall goal instead of the objectives. Hopefully that clears up a few things, and I'm Bridget with Life on Spectrum. Thanks for watching that episode, and make sure you come back and join us again for upcoming videos. They'll be uploaded almost on a daily basis. Also, if you really enjoyed us, like us below, or even leave a comment for us to respond back to. And if for all of you that are really involved in the Life on Spectrum, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you. We hope that this is worthwhile for you, and we'll see you next time on Life on Spectrum.